Hello and welcome to Coffee with SamPaul for 2024, back at my local haunt, the Front Page Cafe in South Plimpton. And I'm joined today by an amazing PT, goes by the name of Glen Lomman. How you going, Glenn?
Yeah, good.
That's good to hear. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, as I mentioned in the introduction, you're a PT. Could you give us a little bit of a background as to how your journey to become a PT in life?
Yeah, sure. So, I went through my own sort of journey. I was always interested in sport as a young kid till probably 13, 14, maybe 15. And then I discovered the joys of partying and hanging out with friends and drinking and all that sort of stuff quite
all the
young.
Fun stuff.
yeah, it was fun at the time.
Yeah.
The teen years were hard for me because I was quite overweight as well. And copped a lot of bullying because of my weight. So it was a tough time. So I felt like I maybe didn't fit in a lot. So I had to put a mask on, party lots, be, that guy. After that, I kind of went through my fitness journey because I got to a point where I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And depression, anxiety, all that sort of stuff really kicked in.
Yeah.
And I wasn't proud of where I was at in my life, in my relationship at the time.
Yep.
So I had to make some changes. And if those changes didn't happen, then it was going down a dark path. So exercise was probably the first thing that I kind of kicked that off with.
Yep. Oh, nice. And from there, did you get sort of move into becoming a bit healthier eating and lifestyle choices in that regard as well?
Yeah, so once the exercise kind of come into my lifestyle a bit more and became a bit more of a priority, then I discovered nutrition, and I guess I discovered that eating well and fueling well made the exercise easier.
Yeah.
So if I could make the exercise easier and more enjoyable, it became more effective.
Yeah.
So it kind of went hand in hand, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of makes sense when you think about it that, what we put in is what we get out. And I know myself, if I've gone for a bout of eating pretty well, and then suddenly I decide, I'm going to slacken off and maybe have a burger from local fast food joint. Next thing I know, everything just feels like it's not running the way it should. It's like putting water in your petrol tank instead of petrol, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So
yeah. I mean, it's not optimal, but it's not saying that you can't have those things either.
Of course.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah.
And finding that balance as well really makes a big difference.
Yeah, cool. So we touched a little bit on the fitness side of things. The sort of healthier eating kind of side of things. I'm curious to know your perspective. So obviously eating healthier in general, better choices of food is a big part of that. But would you say portion size is also something? Because one thing I've noticed, I used to have a friend that was getting into kind of a healthier eating habits, and so they were meal prepping and following to the letter the recipes, because she had me do it because she wasn't didn't enjoy cooking like I do.
Yep.
And one of the biggest things I noticed about it was the portion sizes. What I was normally eating compared to what these portions was almost maybe half the size.
Yeah.
So would that be a bigger thing?
It can be for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was brought up that I had to finish everything on my plate.
Yeah, same.
I wasn't allowed dessert until I finished everything on my plate.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to leave the table until I finished everything on my plate.
Sounds like we grew up with the same parents.
Possibly, no.
Yeah.
So, that in itself trained us as kids to finish what's on your plate, no matter what's there.
Yeah.
You'd be served with a big plate.
Yeah.
You've got to finish it. And I still do it. I still have that feeling.
Yeah.
I have to finish everything on my plate. And I do it with my kids as well.
Yeah.
Subconsciously I'll say they'll ask to go play or something halfway through dinner and we're still eating. I'm like, just finish what's on your plate.
Yeah.
Not thinking, and it's like, that's exactly what my upbringing was as well.
Yeah.
So it's not abnormal.
Yeah.
But that in itself relates to portion sizes, and obviously overeating has the effects of overeating.
Yeah.
Undereating has the effects of undereating.
Yeah.
But if you can work out what's right for you, what's right for your activity levels and that sort of thing, then it makes it so much easier to manage as well.
I guess it all comes down to a fair extent, energy in and energy out, doesn't it? So if you're more active, then you're probably going to crave to eat a bit more to keep that energy level up.
Yeah.
And consequently, if you're not a very active person by default, like say someone like me, then you probably don't need to eat as much energy kind of rich food because you're not expelling it in physical activity.
Correct, yeah. It's the same as, bank accounts. Money in, money out. I
don't know, mine overdraws sometimes.
Well, that's it, yeah. But if you, the money that you put in, if you don't use it, it gets interest.
Yeah.
Just like the food that you put in, if you don't use it, it'll gain interest and gain weight. Or something like that as well.
Yeah.
So, you've got to find that balance.
Yeah, most definitely. So, let's say I'm a new client. I'm coming to see you for the first time. What would be your first step? Would you do like some sort of kind of a fitness assessment, so to speak, on where they're at now? Have a bit of a chat, maybe get an idea of what they do?
Yeah, so we always start with a chat. Sometimes catch up with a coffee at a cafe. Just that face-to-face interaction. Sometimes it's a phone call, just to find out where they're at, what they actually want, what they've done in the past, and what they enjoy as well. And then from there, then it's a basically, bit of a fitness assessment, make sure that there's no imbalances that are major, any joint issues, anything like that we should be mindful of. And then it's a case of seeing what they can do and working on building that. So, if someone moves fairly well in certain movement patterns, we can build on that to build the not so good movement patterns as well. So work on their weaknesses whilst working on their strengths. That way they feel like they're winning, they're getting results, but they're building their weaknesses as well. So it's not just focusing on their weaknesses. It's not just focusing on weight loss. It's more about finding how they're sleeping, how their hydration is, how their energy levels are at 3 p.m. or something like that. It's a case of just checking in with them as well. And do you do a lot of follow up with your clients, like not just obviously catching up to do your working out and so forth, but you are like, as you said, check in and see how they're doing at different points of the journey? So we've got different level, I guess, of clients with us as well. So, we've got our private one-on-one clients who I see 1 to 2, maybe 3 times a week as well. So there's that real personal touch point. We have our group clients as well, who we still see quite regular. But I'll send out emails all the time, education pieces, text messages, just check in, how they're going, that sort of thing.
Oh, cool.
So it's a case of, just see what's working, what's not working, and make some adjustments as we go.
Because at the end of the day, like anything, I guess it's a journey. It's not like there's not necessarily a destination. You might have a goal like to lose X amount of weight or this or that, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be a journey, isn't it? Because you don't just reach that weight and then give it up. You've got to keep it, maintaining it, just like anything else, really, don't you?
We're big on the lifestyle aspect. So, it's great having a goal. But what happens when you get that goal? What are the habits that you've actually built to get to that goal? And how can we build on those habits and continue the momentum, I guess? Momentum can go both ways. You can work towards your goals and build momentum that way. But as soon as you stop something, the momentum slows down and then it can go backwards as well. So it's about just keeping the momentum going.
Of course.
And adjusting as we go. So it's like, you can't say, when I get to my goal, I'm going to stop doing whatever. It's more a case of, okay, how does it make you feel achieving the goal, but what are the habits and the steps that we have put in place that you actually enjoy doing, and are they beneficial or not to your overall lifestyle? And we have a big sort of philosophy around longevity. So me personally, I want to be able to run around with my great grandkids,
of course.
be able to play on the floor with them, get up off the floor without any assistance or them pulling me up.
Yeah, I was saying, I can still get down with the best of them, but it's getting back up where I struggle sometimes.
Well, that's it, yeah. So when I'm 80, 90, I still want to be able to get down and up and,
and not struggle.
Be mobile.
Yeah.
So a big sort of part of what we do is it sustainable for not just 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, like some programs?
Yeah.
5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. Is it something that you can see yourself doing still?
Yeah. So I guess that it would also incorporate, like we mentioned, goals before and reaching those goals and then keeping the momentum up. But I guess it would be a case of setting long-term or ongoing goals as much as it would be the short-term. I want to lose 10 kilos or I want to, become more fit and, more healthy and so on and so forth. You'd have, like you said, I want to play with my kids or grandkids or get down and get back up unassisted. So you kind of set those goals. And would it be fair to say that as much as the physical part of what you do is super important, because obviously, getting the heart rate up and being active is kind of probably a fairly big part of becoming a healthier, more active person, but resting as well. Would you agree that resting is...
Yeah, definitely. You've got to recover just as hard as you train.
Yep.
You've got to refuel to fuel those training sessions.
Yep.
Because if you're not recovering, then you're not getting the best recovery to put in the best effort each time as well. And if you continually push, and you're depleting your energy stores and that sort of thing, that's when injuries happen. That's when the body just says enough's enough.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The body will stop before the mind generally.
Yeah.
So it'll give you some warning signs if you are pushing and not recovering enough. If you don't listen to those warning signs, then
Yeah, that makes sense. So I consider myself to be, I guess you could say, somewhat of an advocate for mental health, particularly for men, being that I obviously am a man myself, so I'm probably most relatable to other men. And somehow I've managed to a lot of the guests that I've had come on the show so far have all had some degree of mental health aspect to what we talk about. I had a comedian, for example, absolutely a hilarious guy. His name's Mark. He goes by the name of The Beautiful Bogan. And despite the fact we came to talk about his show that he had coming up, we spent a lot of time talking about men's mental health, both because that's something he's passionate about, but also because his show does incorporate a lot of that. So I guess where I'm going with that is... do you get people come to you more concerned about their mental health aspect than the physical health as well?
Definitely.
Yep,
definitely. So they may not tell me on the first meeting, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Once we get to know each other and peel back some layers, exercise isn't really what they want to do for weight loss or for health or fitness.
Yeah.
It can be more for mental health, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for it as well. I've been through my own struggles and journey and that sort of thing, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I went through rock bottom and almost ended it all at that point in my rock bottom.
Wow.
So I've been there, and exercise, like I said, that's kind of what I started with back then. That got me out of, not being here today.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that.
Definitely, yeah. Mental health is huge, and I hear it almost on a daily basis. I struggled getting out of bed this morning, but I still came to session, and I feel so much better for coming.
Yeah.
So much better for getting out of bed. So much better for, doing the hard thing.
Yeah.
And doing that and building that resilience as well. So, exercise is great, but it's also that mental fortitude and that strength that can come from challenging yourself and achieving, those little challenges.
I guess you could say it's like going out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Somewhat, taking that hard road, as you said.
Yeah, correct.
Yep. Yeah. Because one thing I've been learning a lot about, on my personal journey is, that when you do step out of that comfort zone and you do the uncomfortable thing, that quite often that's where your most growth and progress sort of happens. So, and I guess that'd be the same as if you're, doing say like a weight routine or something. When you push it a little bit extra, you get kind of a bigger result at the end of the day. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I mean, my own journey started with the exercise, but then the mindset also came into it.
Yeah.
I had to go through a lot of uncomfortable situations, asking questions of myself, so I could go to the next level, I guess, in life and get out of the shit.
Yeah. No, that's heaps good, man. So thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure getting some insight into to the life of a PT. And it sounds like you're doing great work both with yourself and with your clients. So I commend you for that, man. Like, we definitely need more of that. And there's definitely, slowly but surely, we're getting that conversation happening a lot more, which is such a positive thing to see. So and you're part of that. So I appreciate that. From one man to another.
Likewise.
So thank you very much, my man.
Thank you.
And I look forward to kind of seeing where you progress to with your business and with what you're doing, and all the great positive results you're getting. So well done.
Awesome. No, thank you. Thanks for doing what you do.
Pleasure, and I hope you enjoyed the coffee.
Yeah, brilliant.
No worries. Peace.